welcome to ReneMarie Stroke of Luck. I'm ReneMarie, and we have an awesome show today. I just want to wait 2 seconds because I always like to bring it up on my computer so that we could follow anybody that would like to say something or so. Okay, so there we go. So we're watching ourselves. This social media is incredible, the way you can follow yourself and you can comment or tweet in. So if anybody would like to tweet or say anything or have a question for my two guests, please do so, okay? I'm really honored and privileged to have this platform, first of all, on social media and on YouTube and in the internet. It's incredible the way that God has allowed us to touch base with everybody in 1 single second. We are touching base with the entire world right now, and it really blows my mind. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I was working one day, and Karen Stobner, who is a wonderful friend of mine, and she actually had suffered a stroke as well and was working with me on my foundation. And she said to me, you know, there's somebody I got to introduce you to. You got to meet her. She does an empowering women show, and I really think you should be on it. I said, okay, whatever. So I came home and looked it up. I said, oh my God, I have to contact her. So I contacted Nan Wilson. Nan Gill Wilson, and we connected immediately, probably because we both have a strong faith. We believe that God is the answer and the way, and you really have to have faith to get through this life we live. And then I went up and I did her show, and then I met her husband, David Patrick Wilson.
That'd be you.
And this is David Patrick Wilson. But I really am. It was a divine intervention, the way we kind of gathered and came together, and it really was a divine intervention. So we're going to have a wonderful show today, talking about their career paths and talking about the movies they're doing and the astonishing work they both have done in their lives. And what the future is to hold, and really the love story that was between them. So I am really honored and privileged to introduce to you Nan Gill Wilson and David Patrick Wilson. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having us.
It really, don't you think it was so strange the way we were just talking and the way we connected, and it just
was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
It was.
The way life's supposed to be.
Yes, it was. And it was so magical, the way that just we all came together. Mm-hmm. It was so magical. I really just want to maybe give our audience a little bit a history, about your lives. So Nan, start off. Tell us a little bit about, your past.
Okay. Well, we both grew up in Northport, Long Island.
Wow.
And this was also very, very, you say it's a coincidence, but nothing is a coincidence. No. Everything in God's world happens according to plan. So we actually met each other on the sleigh riding hill when we were 12. And David didn't even live in the same town that I did.
No. Wow.
But he was visiting his uncle.
Who taught in the school system.
Right. And I was very shy. So anyway, I had this little Dutch coat on. My mother was from Holland, so she dressed me like a little Dutch girl. And I had this
actually more like a little Dutch boy. You had that little Dutch boy hat.
So anyway, yes. So what happened was he came over to me, and I pretended I didn't see him.
This is at 12.
At 12.
Yeah.
And
you knew back then.
And then my sled ran away from me, and he ran down the hill and brought it back to me. And I said, oh my goodness, here he comes. And what did you say?
True story. What did I say?
Yeah. You said she still wouldn't look at me.
No. That's true, she didn't. She wouldn't look at me.
I wouldn't.
Wow.
And then I was like with my girlfriend, Lori Shebam, And
Who
after
else?
a while, I said to myself, he was a pretty nice guy. Maybe I should say hello to him. And I looked over and looked all around. He was
You
gone.
were
Wow.
gone.
That was the end
Wow.
of it. So,
Wow.
Well,
And-
that was the beginning of it.
oh, that's true.
Yeah, the end
That's
hasn't
true.
shown up yet.
That's true. That's true. That is so incredible.
But I didn't see her again for 3 years.
So you saw her again when she was 15.
Yeah,
you were-
my family actually lived in the next town over, and then we moved several towns away, a couple towns away, and then we moved back, and I started school at the high school, Northport High School, and there she was.
Wow. Wow.
But all the time we were in high school, never said more than 4 words to
No.
each other.
we would actually, when we met each other in the hall, we would both look down and go, hello, David. Hello,
Well, she was
Nan."
looking down. She didn't know what I was looking at.
Wow. So then you graduated high school and went on your...
Well, there was a couple of other things. There was one incident on the stairs in front of the principal's office.
Oh, tell us about that incident.
Well, I mean, I was up in the principal's office for something I didn't do, really. Well, yeah. Anyway, and I was sent back to class, and I was coming down I was coming up the stairs. Oh, I was on my way up to the principal's
Right,
office.
and I was coming
And she was
down.
coming down the stairs.
And we could not avoid each other's eyes.
Right. So
Wow.
at that
And it
moment,
was like, whoa. And then we said, hello, how are you? Everything is fine.
Yeah, right, no.
And when we
no, it was more like, hi, David, hi, Nan. That was it.
yeah.
You
Wow.
know?
Wow.
But which was really interesting because I did. I started in the high school musical. My leading lady was Patti LuPone, and
Patti LuPone went to high school with you?
yeah, Patti was in our school.
She was
we
in
all
our
went to school
class.
together, but she was in our class.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We
Oh,
were
yeah.
both on
I
the
didn't know
same
that.
gym team
Oh, yeah.
together.
Wow.
So and I
And-
took.
No, I was going to say, and as you'll see as this unfolds, how wonderful and really prestigious they both are. So just follow the story.
Well,
I don't know
but Pat,
about
so
that.
so
Yes.
actually, I took I actually got the role as on a dare from my sister, who said I had been I was an athlete. I played football and basketball, and I had like 9 letters, and but in my senior year, she dared me. She said you could never, you don't know what it's like to be in theater. You would never. But I said, yeah, I'll try out for the play and I'll get the lead, and I did.
Wow.
But I didn't play basketball that year, so I kind of became sort of a villain because we were supposed to have a great team. Not only did I leave, but I took the second guy with me because I realized, here I'd been hanging around a smelly locker room with a bunch of guys most of my life, right? And all of a sudden we were on the stage with a bunch of really cute girls who were singing and dancing. And, it's
wait
a minute, I've been in the wrong part of the forest. So, but we did the show, and she played oboe in the pit
did.
orchestra. So, like when I
Wow.
would be performing, I would be, doing some enchanted evening, and I'm looking at, and there she is. She's like right there in the pit.
Down in the pit. I'm playing oboe.
Did you know your connection? Did you
Well,
did you feel your connection?
I felt it,
Yeah, you know that there's something, but
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend, and I had this whole other thing going on.
But I think it's so magical the way it evolved and developed.
Yeah.
Because probably if you would have got back together back
Then-
then,
oh, no, it would never
you would have
worked.
never worked. It
Never
would have never
worked.
worked.
Oh, no.
Because you still had to live your lives. You
Oh,
still
boy.
had so much experience to get in life.
We had
you
to
know?
make mistakes and learn.
Yes,
that
yes.
And
God
she
has
made a
to come
few, but I'll tell you,
God has, you have to learn that God has to come first.
that's
Yes.
true.
That if you put God first in front of everything,
Yep,
that everything else works.
Yes.
right.
Tell me. We'll get back to your romantic story, your romance, your love story. But tell us when you both developed that God was first. That God. What was that moment?
Well, when I was a child, He was first. I was looking out the door on Easter looking for Jesus.
Were
he
you
was
raised
really
that way?
close. Not that much, but my father felt he was very practical, and he said, well, he wasn't sure if it was true, but if it was, he wanted to make sure it was on the right side of it.
He was a very pragmatic man, an engineer.
Pragmatic engineer. He worked on the space
the lunar
shuttle
excursion module.
for Grumman, and he was actually head of the patent department in Grumman Aircraft. So he was.
Worked on a lot of stuff.
So basically, I did go to Bible camp and Bible school and everything like that. But you know what happens as you become a teenager? All these other things, you stop going to church. I mean, once you're confirmed, I think that's the most important time to go to church, to stay in it. But parents actually don't continue to bring their kids to
Not in
church,
this society,
and that's the most important time. Because I remember going through high school and not going to church, and it really made a difference for me. I mean, I was lost.
You know, I was raised, in a Catholic school.
Right.
Although, whatever faith you are, I believe that's the one that connects you to be a good person and believe in God.
Sure.
So but I was raised as a Catholic in a Catholic school, and really it set the groundwork for me.
Right.
And although I didn't go to church during my high school years, it was embedded in me already.
Right.
It was embedded in me, and you find your way back to the church eventually. And you know what? And they know that in the church. They know that, especially college students, and you go away from home and you live a life.
I wish they'd have let me know that a little sooner.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, my experience was a little bit different. I started out in my family. My first home that I remember was when I was a kid was Levittown. And Levittown was like this, it was just the first development on Long Island, housing development on Long Island. And it was like massive. And everybody that lived in Levittown came from, these were all war vets. These were all World War II vets who were given the opportunity to buy their homes for the first time, on the GI Bill. And they came from some of the worst places in the world. But it seemed like everybody was Catholic in the neighborhood, So like every day, you'd go to church and you'd go to school and do all of that. Well, when I was making my first communion, I had a Sister Mary Joseph, who was just the sister from down under. She was just not of God. I don't care what anybody says.
But excuse me a second. Don't you think that the sisters and priests back then are so different than they are today?
Oh, yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
She was, I don't know what her trip was, but she, I actually was thrown out of my first communion class for not wanting to lie in the confessional. You used to do this rehearsal where before your first communion.
Forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. This is my first confession, was what you're supposed to say. But here I am. I'm 6 years old. What sin? Who knows what that is?
Yeah.
And by the way, you're not the father. And I told her that. She said, "Don't be a wise guy. Just practice it." I'm in a confessional, right? And I'm about to do this. Reminds me of Colbert's Midnight Confessions. But I'm in this confessional, and all I can remember is that it's a sacrilege if you lie in church, but in a confessional when you're supposed to be telling the truth about your sins. It must be really bad. I was afraid I was going to get incinerated, kneeling right there in the confessional.
Oh, that's funny. That's really good.
Oh, man.
That stuff, you can't make up that stuff.
No. But the thing about it was, she got so frustrated, she reached around the corner and all of a sudden this claw comes through the curtain in the confessional and drags me out down the aisle, past all of my little friends, tosses me down the steps and says, "Go home, you're not making communion." So I had kind of a rough start with the Catholic Church. We didn't quite see eye to eye there, but I stuck with it. For a while, and then and during high school, really when I went to church kind of irregularly, but. Every Saturday morning before we played ball, we had to go get blessed.
Well, for me, I went, through high school. I went to college. I got married. I had 3 kids, and I was not involved in the church. And then,
well, you marry a Jewish guy, you're not likely to be involved in the church.
Right. So it was really, really getting to be a very difficult situation because it was I was actually really abused by my ex-husband. So I can remember getting on my knees and praying because it was just really, really bad.
You had nowhere else to go.
I just got down on my knees and I started to pray, and I felt like Jesus was behind me.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
said, "Where have you been?" And he said, "I've been right here behind you the whole time, but you've been too stubborn to turn around and look."
Right.
I know. That's why I had to get hit in the head with a bat.
Wow.
Right.
See?
That's why I
Yeah.
had to get, because he's been trying to get my attention
And
I wasn't listening. So
Well-
he literally hit me in the head with a bat.
So I'm happy that he didn't hit me in the head with a bat.
I was really like,
Well,
you
he
know,
didn't hit you in the
That's
head.
a hard
but
way
he
to
allowed
go.
it to happen.
he allowed it to happen. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was like, clunk, are you listening to me? And then it took me 13 years.
Right.
Yeah.
13 years
Wow.
To get back.
to he said, let's try it again. And while I was walking across the field, I heard him say, we're going to try this again. And I walked into
That's
the
when you
first
had your
base
stroke.
dugout, and I went down and had the stroke and rose up, and that's when Jesus spoke to me. That's
Wow.
when God spoke to me. So yeah,
Well,
so
David had a little encounter. He was shot when he was how old?
you were shot?
Yeah, I was in a hunting accident and was shot in the leg.
And we found out now that it was a misfire.
that the gun
the
had
gun.
right all those
You
years.
thought it was his brother that
And
shot him.
right. My brother had no idea the gun was in his hands, but it discharged. It was a faulty safety, and
And
it was
they
a
had kept
Remington
it
rifle.
Oh
and,
my
as a
gosh.
secret.
and they kept it a secret all that time. So he blamed himself until he was killed, unfortunately, in a motorcycle accident at the age of 22. He was a year
Oh my
older
God!
than me.
That just
I know.
Yeah, that's something that really tries your faith, when you lose people like that. But I understood that, this place was not, that he was done here, that this was not for him. He was on his way to Vietnam. He didn't want to go.
wow.
He was supposed to ship the next day, actually.
Oh my
and it was
gosh.
like, and the police, when they found him, he was going off an off ramp on the Sagticos Parkway, and he must have, in the rain, and the bike slipped out from under him, and he took a fall, and he apparently hit his head. But the state trooper that found him said it was incredible. It was like somebody lifted him up and laid him down next to the cycle,
Oh my gosh!
and it didn't appear that there was anything wrong with him at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
There
It was
there
his time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was actually God just taking him out of a place that he really didn't
Wow.
want to be. I mean, and he was
Do
such
you-
an incredible guy.
Do you feel him with you still?
Oh, always, all the time. Yeah,
Do you
sure.
talk to him?
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, every night. It's just like he's in my prayers every day.
Maybe he
So-
guides you. He helps you.
Oh, I'm sure that he did. But for a long time, I felt like I lost a lot of guys during that period. That was during the Vietnam period, and I lost friends, my brother, lots of guys that I played football with, and it was like a very, very hard time. And then every time I'd lose somebody, not only did it make me angry, my father left when I was 10 years old too. So it was like, all of a sudden it was me and my brother on our own, and then he was taken away from me. And so I'm like out there on my own, and trying to navigate becoming a good man. And by that time there'd been some separation between me and God, although I did, when I started my career, make a pact with him. If he let me use the talents and the skills that he gave me, that I would use them to take care of all of his children. So that was my deal with him.
Yes.
But I got angry. I kept, because it was like I was trying to live for everybody that was dying.
But it's okay to get angry with God. It's okay, because He wants us to have a relationship with Him.
True relationship. Yeah.
A true relationship. When true relationships, you get mad, you get upset, and you want answers. And
Yep.
sometimes He doesn't give us the answers
That we want to hear.
that we want to
Yeah.
hear, or at the time that we want to hear them. Most of the time, God.
Yeah.
But He wants us to have a relationship with Him, and I talk to Him all day, every day,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's why it's
Well,
so
Jesus
important.
didn't come to give us a religion. Religion's all well and good. It's another form of discipline, to keep us in line, I guess. But that's not what Jesus came for. Jesus came to give us this intimate relationship with the God of our understanding,
Right.
And that's really what I concentrate on. It doesn't make any difference to me what you are. As a matter of fact, I wear a medallion here that represents every religion. There's
Wow.
Muslim, there's
I love
Greek
that.
Orthodox, here's my crucifix here.
Wow.
It's got the Star of David, it's got
Wow.
the hand of Buddha, it's got Ganesh.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
because
awesome.
because they're all, they all represent a spirit, Now, I follow Jesus Christ because, to me, Jesus Christ was, the Son of God and the greatest being that ever walked the planet, and somebody that I want to emulate, in everything that I do. And but it doesn't matter to me what religion you are.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me what background you came from or what color
he
you
says
are.
as long as they can get along on his neck together.
As long as it doesn't burn a hole in my chest, I know that we've got some hope.
You know what upsets me.
I'm sorry
and
about
upsets,
the mic there.
Oh, that's okay. And upsets God as well is that people have religions and that divides us.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't divide us.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a lot
absolutely.
of things that divide us, but really, we are really all one.
We are all
And
one.
once you realize that, I had a situation where my ex-husband was trying to control me, so he had me go to this hypnotist, and it was someone that was very famous that had written Past Lives, Many Masters. And so he asked me to go in between my last life and this one and tell me what he saw. And I was actually in a white room, and Jesus was there, and he was healing me.
Wow.
And I said to him, I said, if only we knew when we were down here how much you really loved us, it would be so much easier.
Yeah.
And with that, I was back.
Yeah.
And I thought it was because I was supposed to tell people how much he really loves us. And then I realized that in his infinite love and in his infinite generosity, he wanted to give me a life where I knew how much he loved me.
Oh, that's
Isn't
awesome.
that beautiful?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I always say to people, and this, when I was taken out of my body, that I said to God, whatever you want me to do. And he said, the only thing I want you to do is remember you always work for me.
Yeah, right.
So, all the people on earth could say, you work for this one, you work for that one. No.
I work for the big
That's
guy.
it. I say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. People say, why do you do it? Because this is what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
That's my purpose.
Yeah.
But whatever he tells you to do, you might not understand.
Well, the thing that really blows my mind is that people just don't ask for what they want. Just as simple, you have not because you ask not. Just ask. And I'll tell you, quite honestly, in my entire life, even though I've been through all kinds of things in my life, bad marriages and career ups and downs and things like that, I went from being a movie star and a TV star to being homeless, within a couple of years of each other. So it was like, what a real roller coaster. But, the thing of it, he's never denied me anything that I've ever asked for, anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
If that was really what's the pure intention in your heart is that's what you get.
Right.
So
I wanted to help people because I do title insurance, and I also help people with mortgages and refinances and stuff like that. And I asked him, I said, I want to help the general public. And he set me up with a whole situation where I could teach.
Wow.
Because
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I teach for the New York County Lawyers Association. I teach title insurance. And I really feel that a lot of people don't really understand title insurance. And it can, your house is your single
Asset.
Most important asset.
investment. It's most people's only investment.
Right.
But, they do others, but it's your greatest investment. So I teach seminars to real estate brokers, lawyers, and also I've started teaching to general public about about reverse mortgages. And he put me in contact with somebody that I could help with reverse mortgages if anybody needed a reverse mortgage. So just like that. I they called me. I didn't call anybody. I just prayed.
Wow. And where could they contact you if they would like that service or like to be taught that?
Okay. Well, my number is 845-294-7500. And you can get in touch with us on any of our websites. We have willygilly.com. WILLY.
Well, but specifically for that thing.
Okay, Golden Area Abstract.
Golden Area Abstract. And once
Here's
again,
the name of the
I
company.
will put it on the video
Right.
when we upload the video,
It's
just so we have that.
goldenabstract.com.
Okay, good. It's really important when we do what we're called to do.
Right.
Sometimes he tests me to do like really crazy things.
Yeah, stuff you don't even
Stuff like it's out of the blue.
Yep.
I'm like, well, how can I do? Okay, just.
Well, for me, doing what I've been doing for my entire life for now.
Tell us a little bit about your career. David Wilson Patrick is Patrick Wilson.
David
Sorry.
Patrick Wilson. That's okay. You can call me anything, just don't call me late for dinner. Yeah.
Is an astonishing actor. He has
thank you.
his list, his resume is phenomenal. And I actually, after we met, you know, and you told me who you were, I was like, he looked familiar. So I went to the IBM. Is that what it is? The
IMDb.
IMDb.
Yeah.
I went to the IMDb and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, that's where I saw him. That's where I saw him. That's where I saw him. Like in all the TV shows and all the movies,
Yeah,
and
good place.
I mean, you know, it's crazy how, you know, you just interact with people and you get the privilege of meeting people, especially people like you. But tell us a little bit about your
Well,
your career path.
I wasn't going to be an actor at all. I told you I did that high school show with Patty LuPone. I kind of got bit there, but I had to go to, you know, I went to college. It was the Vietnam era, and you know, that was the whole thing. I didn't really want to go. I had no interest in going to some foreign land and, you know,
Being
destroying
killed.
people or dying for something that didn't make any
Just-
sense to me, which I guess, you know, Ken Burns things kind of exposed a lot of that. But I took a lot of heat for that. And I went to Columbia University, which was, you know, and I got involved with the whole.
He actually got a full scholarship to Columbia
Yeah.
University to play football.
Well, no, they didn't give football scholarships. They didn't call it a football scholarship, but I played football, and they're 5-0 this year, first time, unbelievable.
Wow.
Start. Yeah, I can't even believe it. It's the worst football that there ever was, and I came from a high school championship team, you know, which was really weird. But in any event, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to go to college at all. I wanted to live Jack Kerouac's life. You know, I wanted to be on the road. I wanted to find out about life in America, and I wanted to do Walt Whitman and, you know, all of this other stuff, this romanticized loner drifter kind of
Wow.
thing. And what happened was, when the draft lottery came out in the December of 1967, I think was the first one, or maybe it was 68. I guess maybe it might have been 68. No. My number came up 365 out of 366. So that was like God putting a stamp on me, say, "Okay, kid, go do whatever you want."
Right. Wow.
And
Wow.
so I went and I decided I was going to quit school and be an actor, which like destroyed my family. Give up an Ivy League education to do what? And I remember I took some money that I had and I went down to the Bahamas and I gambled it all away. It was one of the first things I did. I'm hanging out in Jamaica and Nassau and being an idiot. And I come back to New York and I have nothing. And so I said, my mother said, "I don't care what you do, but you got to go do something." You know, so I went to New York, and they used to have this information booth on 42nd Street, right next to where all of the recruiters were for the military, right? But in the information center, I tore out a page. I went through the book once, came back through, and I tore out the page that said acting. Said, I can do this. I've done this. So I actually started from one acting school to the next.
Wow.
Throughout an entire day. And I said, by the end of this day, I'm going to be someplace. And the last place I stopped was a school on 54th Street with a red door, gray building, white trim, the Neighborhood Playhouse. And I walked in, and it was like I was home.
Wow.
And it just so happened that one of the greatest acting teachers ever, Sanford Meisner, was the teacher there. And he became my teacher. He became my mentor. And which is quite a story in and of itself. But from that moment on, you know, that's what it was about. That's what it was for me. And when I made the night at the end of the 2 years that I was with him, they did a production. They did productions, and all of the agents and managers in New York City would come to see these because they knew Meisner's work and they knew everything. You know, this was the guy.
They knew they were going to find somebody. And
I found a lot of somebody.
Yeah.
Richard Gere went there. Actually, Les Moonves was a year behind me too in Richard's class. He's the head of CBS.
Oh my
now.
gosh.
So, but in any event, you know, I went up on the roof that night of the show. I was starring in one of the plays. I had the lead, and I said, "God, just let me do this, and I'll, you know, do whatever you want." And I went down, and I got a standing ovation. And the next day, I got phone calls from 53 of the top agents in New York. You know, it's like,
And he didn't know how to handle it.
I was off to the races. Because Meisner kept telling us, there's nothing for you out there. He talked like this little tiny guy. He had this voice like this because he smoked 6 packs of cigarettes a day. He said, you're going to get out there. There's nothing out there for you. I don't even know why I'm teaching you. And so I was all prepared to starve to death. I was married. I had a baby, and so I was prepared to starve in a cold water flat, but I was not prepared for what happened, which was this string of success. And I run for 20 years where I never stopped working anytime I wanted to.
Wow.
I mean, I would literally walk away from work, and people say, "How can you do that?"
Yeah, you have to sometimes because you have to regroup.
Well, then the interesting thing was when I quit school, my family kind of disinherited me. They just, except for my brother, who passed away a year into my school anyway. But my stepfather, who was he wanted me to become the chief legal counsel for his company, and he was a very well-to-do man, and he wouldn't talk to me for years. Till one year, about 4 years into my career, this is like 1971. I'm making 6 figures a year at the age of 21. I started right out of the box, just making big money. Yeah. I had 5 national commercials running, and doing TV and soap operas and plays, and working at the public theater, and yada yada yada. So I said I didn't want to do my taxes. I hated doing my taxes. So I went to him and he said, "Listen, Ralph, I know you're upset with me, but can you help me out with this? I know that you're really good at this, and maybe you can help me." He took a look at my statements. He said, "You make this much money?" I said, "Yeah, this was like 4 years into my career." Yeah. How do you do that? I said, "Acting." He said, you can make this kind of money? I said, "Oh, this is nothing." He said,
"Wow."
Well, he had 2 sons that were working for him in the corporation. Both of them had been to Nam. Both of them were vets.
Right.
And he was paying that. He immediately doubled their salary because he was paying them a lot less than I was making, and he couldn't have that.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if they knew that or they ever found that out. Wow. From I just loved doing it. It just felt like the right thing to do. That's why it was
right thing to do, because you just follow your heart. You follow your inner knowing that this is what you need to do in life. And the truth is, life is so short, and each single second is a gift that we have on this earth. Yep. We never know when it's going to be taken away.
Right, and don't deny the gifts that God's given you to work with, because they're there for everyone else.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. He didn't give it to me so I could act in a vacuum.
And isn't it funny that your sister tested you and said to go out for the play in high school?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was the little wing from God.
Yeah.
Hey,
challenge.
It wasn't even a test. She was a flat out dare.
Yeah.
She meant it too. She was angry. She said, "Oh, well, you don't know what it's like, and you can't possibly." Oh, really? Okay.
But it was that little
that's exactly
that little,
right.
Because sometimes I know with me, when somebody says I can't do it, watch out.
Well, that's exactly. You know what? That's funny.
Watch out. Yeah. Watch out, because no is not on my vocabulary word.
That was the trip for me. All you had to do was tell me what I couldn't do, and you could count on me doing it. But not without him. That was the thing. I never did it alone, and I never felt like I was alone doing it.
Yeah.
And all of the things that we work on, all of the films and television projects that we have working, we've got a film coming out very shortly now.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's so exciting for both of you.
Yeah.
My executive producer over here.
Executive producer, tell us a little bit about your wonderful movie.
Okay, well, it's about a...
What's it called?
It's called Collar. And all the police that have seen it love the movie.
Yeah, cops love this movie.
It's called The Collar because it's collar of policemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, collar. A collar is a term used by cops when they arrest somebody.
Oh, okay.
So it's my collar.
I didn't know that.
My
Sorry.
Collar, the guy. Yeah.
But
that was the term.
It's also something that keeps you from moving ahead. Your collar.
Yeah, it has a lot of connotations.
It keeps you held back.
Right.
But we hold our collars ourselves. It's almost like a dog's collar, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Where you're on a leash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I chose that title, and it's
very
really
interesting.
And I wrote it 20 years ago about a cop who shoots a young black kid in a community and causes a major uprising in the community.
And now's the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for 15 years I couldn't get anybody to look at it. And I finally had to make it ourselves because I couldn't get anybody else to make it. You know, I mean, now I wrote the original story for The Unforgiven, that the Clint Eastwood film that won the Academy Award.
Wow.
I wrote the first draft of Eyes Wide Shut, which was done by Tom Cruise and
Wow.
Nicole Kidman. But I could not get any traction on this story because everything. No, man, we don't want to deal with that. Nobody wants to.
You don't want to bring it to
hear
the
this
forefront.
story.
Yeah.
Right, and
We
so
had the producers rep for Black Swan and the
And
Twilight
Twilight,
series
yeah.
say that our film was epic, and he couldn't sell it because nobody wanted to deal with the content.
right.
But now it's reality.
Now it's
reality. Now
they
it's
realize it. He saw it coming and wanted to nip it in the bud and get people to
Right,
talk about it so it wouldn't
So
happen.
it wouldn't happen. What happened? You know, the Trayvon Martins and the Mike Smith and Eric Gray and all of those things did not. You know, that could have been stopped in its tracks, but nobody wanted to deal with the issue. You know, and which is really why it's kind of ironic that the police, the guys that see it, that really love the
love it.
thing, are the cops. They say,
said
"Yeah,
it's
this is
real.
authentic. You know, it's
Yeah.
real."
Yeah,
This
they want to fix it, you know.
Yeah, they do. They really do, and
Matter
much
of
to their
fact,
credit.
there's so much, you know, when you're a policeman, you see so much, and it really, you know, I mean, it's really not easy. It's not an easy job
It's
to
not
be
e-
out in the street and see all this stuff going on and still have to maintain
Especially
your family
now,
at home.
especially nowadays
Yeah.
when the cop is not
And
respected.
being targeted.
Yeah, they're
sometimes.
being targeted as well. They're not respected and they're being targeted, and some by the rightful cause. You know that
Well, it's
policemen
never
have.
right.
You
Well,
know,
I tell you what, the thing about it is, I don't believe that there's a cop out there on the street that believes he's a racist. But because of the pounding, because of the inculcation of and all of this, the mythology around people of color and their the stuff that's been perpetrated by media and by popular mythology.
Right.
It's buried in there, and I don't. And I've talked at length to some guys that were like 35-year gold badges with the NYPD, and they say the training is not there for them to get that deeper appreciation and understanding of where it is. I mean, in this cop, it's very much the same thing. He helped to raise this kid.
Wow.
The kid's parents were killed in a car crash, and he was left with his grandmother, and she couldn't raise him alone, so
Wow.
he was my son's best friend, and I helped raise this kid, and I ended up killing him.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow. I didn't mean that any cop was prejudiced.
yeah.
What I meant was that
Well, there are a lot of them out there that you don't even know that they are.
well, yeah, and there's a lot that it's like with anything. There's good and bad in every
Sure.
single
Yeah, they're good cops
person.
and bad cops.
Right.
People.
Good cop, bad
We're
cop.
people.
Good Catholics, bad Catholic. Good Jewish
No,
people,
but
bad
even
Jewish people.
the-
I'm just saying it doesn't matter
Matter- yeah,
what
the labels are the
faith their
labels.
labels.
Right.
Great
It
for
doesn't
all.
matter how good you are, you're still not above making a mistake.
A mistake.
No,
It's a
absolutely
mistake.
not. But
We're all-
right. But what happens is because it's hot topic, they run to it
Right.
and make more out of it
Right,
than
than
it
it
should
really-
be, and then someone
Instead of
else
dealing
gets
with it.
right, and then someone else gets the idea, and it runs rampant.
Yeah.
It runs
I
rampant.
tell you, if you see blood, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, right. That's
Whatever
true.
side you're on, whatever you're doing, if you're causing blood with somebody else,
It's not a good thing. That's
Well,
God
true.
is not happy these days.
There's only one blood that did any
well,
good.
he knows.
Yeah, God is really upset these days. I mean,
Well,
I hear it all the
hurts him
time.
To see his children
Well, you know what?
hurting each other.
It's in the book.
Yeah.
All this stuff is in the book. You just read the book, you get what's going on.
Yeah. So the movie is called Collar, and has it been released?
No, Well, actually, we've held it back. We've got a lot of distributors that wanted it, but they didn't want to give us the kind of release that we wanted. It's got Tom Sizemore is in it, and Rebecca
Wow.
De Mornay, and Richard Roundtree, the original
Wow.
Shaft.
And David Patrick Wilson.
David
Wilson.
Patrick Wilson,
And,
who we have on our show, and the
And it's a really
executive
good
producer as well, Nan.
Well, it never would have happened without her. You want to talk about a miracle? We had $50,000 to do this movie
Yeah.
when we started. That's all we had, and that was never going to get anything done.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Somehow, in the course of events, we spent $1.5 million
Yep.
that we didn't have to make this movie that got made, and then it's been we didn't even get to finish it until last November, about a
Right.
year ago.
Wow.
And
that all came about. I needed the money to finish the color correction, the surround sound, and the stereo mix, right?
Wow.
So I ended up having somebody who wanted to start a title business hire me as a consultant, and that gave me the money to finish the film.
And it's been that way. You know, whenever the money was supposed to be, just say, okay, turn it over, and boom, it showed up. You know?
Whatever God wants to happen.
Well, now we're waiting on. You know, we have these guys that came to us and said, listen, we'd like to make a deal to get this picture out the way that you want it to get out into theaters, right? We want to do a limited release because that really helps the distribution of the film.
Yeah. Plus
and we want to fund the next
movie.
picture. We want to fund your next picture. So it wasn't waiting this long, right? Not only gives us is going to give us the release that we
So we have a
wanted.
digital distributor that we're holding off.
Right.
Poor woman, she's been crazy.
And we have now the people that came in that want to fund
the theatrical release.
That's awesome.
So it'll be in the theaters. It'll be, and
So
you know,
we'll
they'll
keep everybody posted.
Can I come to the red carpet?
Sure.
Of course, you better
of course.
come.
Yay!
You will be invited.
You know what I'm planning on doing? What I'd really like to do is, you know, since we're doing the distribution ourselves, basically, and putting it in select markets, I want to do little premieres in a lot of different places. you
Okay.
know. And what we've targeted are places where there's a high concentration of of correctional officers and police officers who live in the area. They know, you know, cops don't ever live where they work.
Right.
You know, they live like 50 miles away or within an hour's drive, pretty much.
Right.
You know, so we've been, you know, we spent our time very wisely finding where the concentrations were, so that we can put that there, so that not only can they see it, but the communities in which they're living can see it. So.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the Facebook Live. We forgot you're there. Hi, Facebook Live. we're just like talking like we're in our living room having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine.
You mean we're not?
Cup of coffee? We are having coffee. We are having coffee. But yes, so you've actually picked the spots that you want to have your small premieres?
Yeah, we want, and I intentionally didn't do it in major population centers, like in the cities themselves.
Right.
Because it just gets lost there.
Right.
You know, that's not where America really is. I mean, I think that, you know.
I tell you what, if you want, you can go on to the website, collarthemovie.com.
Okay.
You can actually download for free one of the songs. It's called House of Love.
Wow.
And you can also download the first 4 chapters of the book.
Wow.
So,
I will.
You know,
I will.
There's a lot of stuff you can do, and you can also vote
To get a
on,
little premiere of what it's going to be.
And you can vote on the poster that you like, because we have a few.
I saw them. I did see them. That you're allowing people to vote on the poster.
You can vote
that's
on the
gonna
poster.
gonna go out.
Well,
That's
we
gonna go out.
want to get feedback from the community. We want to know what's going on out there.
Wow.
You know, that's part of what our mission is. You know, as a matter of fact, our mission statement is to recreate the world so that it works for everyone through entertainment. You know, and it is the most powerful industry on earth, regardless of what anybody says.
That's why I do my telethon, because telethons are entertainment.
Yeah, your telethon. We want to do that.
Yes.
To be on it.
Yes. Are you
Can I come and sing a song?
Yes, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about that afterwards for a few minutes. But I want to talk to you. I want to hear about your work with John F. Kennedy at the World Trade Center.
Okay, what's
No,
the
World's Fair.
World's Fair.
Okay, so I did the promo tape for the World's Fair.
She
for
was the
John
physical
F.
fitness
Kennedy
girl.
Wow.
Physical fitness. So I did that, and I used to model for Ford, and that was before I decided. Oh, and I also taught gymnastics.
That's incredible.
Did a lot of that.
You've had a wonderful.
Yeah, and then I, had the 3 kids, and now we have
How old are you?
together we have 13 grandchildren.
Wow.
8 kids and 13 grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so,
I just had my first, and I know how privileged
It's
it is.
exciting, yeah.
It is. It is.
It's a
It's
blessing.
a
That's
blessing.
great.
Yep.
That's
It's a
great.
blessing. David, tell us, amaze us with a little bit of some of the shows you've been on.
Well, I mean, I did all of the episodic. I did Kojak, and I did Chips, and Magnum PI, and I did a lot of those different
He's
things.
the football guy on.
On Magnum PI, before every football season, wherever you find Magnum PI, they always run this episode that I did. It's called One More Summer. I played a quarterback, and Tom actually plays we both got out on the field at the University of Hawaii They flew me there, and we got to play some ball together. It was fun. But I also did I did a lot of miniseries. I did the Gangster Chronicles. I did Studs Lonigan. I did
He did
a lot of
Gay Lady
television.
Down with-
Then I did a lot and a bunch of features. I did Eddie and the Cruisers, which a lot of people know. It's kind of their favorite. I played the drums in that. I was Kenny Hopkins.
I loved
the
Eddie
drummer.
and the Cruisers.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That was awesome.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine just called me up today. He said, "I just saw Eddie and the Cruisers, man."
I have a very good friend. Actually, he's a vice president of the foundation, and he actually grew up. It's almost the same story as you guys. Not that we got married or anything, but we became very
Right.
close friends.
Yeah.
I could throw a rock to his house. His name is Fulvio Cesare. He's as an actor as well, and he lives in Canada. So he lives in Canada, New York, Hawthorne, whatever he goes. But so I understand, what your career is like and what it was
He
like.
was in Wise Guys. He also had a TV show with Ed Asner.
Wow.
I did the Bronx Zoo, which was a great. I really loved doing. For me, it was.
Michael, you changed our. Okay.
Yeah, he plays the assistant
Decapitations there for a minute.
principal. Assistant principal.
I played the Harry Barnes was my character. It was me and Ed Asner and Michael T. Williamson and it was a great show. I really loved it, and it ran for parts of 3 seasons. We never had a regular time slot. Never finished out of the top 20.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, when Brandon Tartikoff was asked what was the biggest mistake, Brandon Tartikoff was the head of NBC for a while, and he was asked what was the biggest mistake he ever made in his career. He said canceling the Bronx Zoo.
Wow. Wow.
Which that made me feel great. That was about a year afterwards. I said, "Oh, great."
He's also one of the oldest living Supermen.
I played Superman. That's right.
You did?
Yeah,
I did.
You can catch it
You
on
feel my muscle?
YouTube. You can catch it on YouTube.
Wow.
It's,
I'll look.
It's a
Yeah.
bird. It's a plane. It's a
It's a
musical
bird,
to
it's a plane.
Superman.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm the
spoof.
singing Superman.
It's a spoof on Superman.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
funny as anything.
I'm gonna look at it.
Leslie Ann Warren, Loretta Swit, Ken
Wow.
Mars.
Wow. While we're on the music subject,
hmm
you do gospel music?
I do. I write it and I love to sing it.
Can you sing a little bit of a song?
Get on up. Well, get on up. Get on up in the name of the Lord. Get on up. Get on up and hear his word. Glory, hallelujah. Get on up. Get on up.
That just gets you just it draws you into
He's got a lot of them. He'll wake up in the morning and he'll say, I have to go downstairs and write down this song.
Wow.
He says
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
writing
a-
a gospel tune before breakfast starts the day
It's
out
a good
right.
day.
Yeah,
It's a good day when I write a tune before breakfast.
It is. Is there? We were over an hour, but it doesn't matter to me. But
about 10 minutes left.
10 minutes.
But
Good.
Tommy and Janine want to say hello because they said they know the Wilson.
I know. Tommy and Janine. Tommy and
Janine.
Yes.
Hey.
So we're going to talk about the telethon when we get off the air because I don't want to say too much.
Talk about it now.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys because you had offered to help us with it.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
Absolutely.
So I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to say anything on the air where
Oh,
the
we
whole
definitely
world
did.
What, you're
is
afraid you're
watching.
going to have to hold us to our word?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no, no,
great.
no, 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 no.
Definitely is.
But we
Definitely
never said anything. But Tommy and Janine, we love Tommy and Janine. They
Yeah,
did our
they're
3
great.
telethons, and I
They are
hope and
great.
pray that we haven't found a place to have it yet because Tommy and Janine, of course, they're mousetrap.
Oh boy,
I
what
know.
a sad thing that was.
I know.
Sorry, Tommy,
So-
Janine. It was a great place.
you
You
hear
guys did
us?
a great job.
I see them right there.
Hey, where are you?
They're right there.
Oh, they're
You
on
don't
over
see
there.
them?
No, that's not them.
No?
Uh.
There they are. Hi, Janine.
Oh, you can see it?
Hi, Janine. So, Janine and Tommy, I hope you'll be still a part of the telethon.
Yeah, come
And-
on. Tommy's got to get up and sing a little
Yes,
bit.
yes.
Tommy can sing.
We're gonna
Tommy
have
can
a
sing.
rock and roll place. A rock and roll. This telethon is really gonna go to the next level, I believe, because we've been blessed to have it with Tommy and Janine.
But you don't know where you don't know where you're
So
doing
what
it.
I
No,
want to
no,
say is
no.
anyone in our audience that wants to be on the telethon,
Woo!
please be in touch with.
Yes, me, ReneMarie. You can find me all over the place. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm ReneMarie777
They're over
or
there, I think, yeah.
yeah. So I'm all over the place. So we would love to have you be a part of the telethon. We are so honored and privileged. You know, Nan and David also have a very good friend that had a stroke, and I would love to have him
Yeah,
come
we're gonna get
down
in touch with
and
him.
have
Oh, that's
him.
Walter, yeah.
Yeah, and have
Tommy,
him.
Tommy knows Walter too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy suffered a stroke as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, yes.
didn't
I
know.
think a year ago or so, about a year ago, he had one stroke, and yeah, so he suffered
Wow.
a stroke. He's okay from the stroke.
Thank God.
He actually just had a surgery on his ankle or his knee,
Meniscus.
his meniscus.
Yeah, oh, yeah?
Just had a surgery on his meniscus.
Well, heal
But-
well, Tom.
Yes. So
We
we'll,
love you guys.
we'll be in touch with you guys. I tell you, Long Island has been a blessing to me.
Yeah.
Long Island's been very, very,
Yeah,
very
Long
good
Island's
to
good.
me.
Although we went back for our 50th reunion last weekend, I'm telling you, I just, it's amazing to me. I don't know.
We had a good time.
We did. We had a
did.
great
We
time.
did have a good time.
Yeah. So
But
let's.
those people got old.
Not you guys. You guys still look like 20-year-olds.
I feel like a kid, but I mean,
We feel like a kid. Maybe
I'm
not.
trying to
look like
figure out.
a
I'm
kid.
trying to figure out how I ended up in that class. No, they were all great. It was great.
Yeah.
So we only have 5 minutes, and I really want to give you each a platform to share with our audience whatever inspires you, whether it's God or your movie or everything above. And so, Nan, you go first.
Okay. Well, basically for me, every day I wake up and I say my prayers and I ask him what he wants me to do. And sometimes he gives me something to cook. I get the most amazing recipes
She
from
does.
him. My most recent one was peanut butter and jelly French toast.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
I haven't
killer.
tried that.
And
Killer.
you know
Killer.
what? Dip it in chocolate.
Oh boy, I'm telling you. Okay, you
You
guys
know,
are getting a
you
little
can
bit
make
way
chocolate
out there.
syrup. But anyway, so whatever he tells me to do. And I just kind of, if I ask him for anything, he usually sets it up for me because I said I wanted to do more title closings. So I ended up having this large bank who needs a title closer and they're coming to me. So
Wow.
I got my license for title and I'm actually doing a big deal out in Utah.
Wow.
And they want to do big deals all throughout the country to build solar farms.
And there's nobody that knows
Solar
more
and
about
wind
title than
farms.
she does. She knows
So,
everything
and
about
then
it.
someone might call me up out of the blue. Sometimes he gives me people who need help with title. They'll just call up and I'll just help them.
Yep.
Wow.
Like
He does.
this one woman called me up. She had bought a piece of property on tax sale. She wanted to know if she could get title insurance and what she needed to do to get it. And I know all those things. So God taught me how to do all this when
Wow.
I was when I was taking care of 3 children. I was raising 3 children on my own.
Wow.
And he taught me the title business, the Holy Spirit. So now if anybody needs help, I help them. Whether
Wow.
they have a mortgage that never got satisfied. I do that, and I have the Empowering Women Everywhere.
Empowering women. We need to. Michael, could you change the battery?
No, I don't have to.
Okay, because I just want to make sure we
No, I have
don't.
enough. No, I have enough.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I really
Yeah,
wanted to talk
so
about
I
empowering
have-
women. We
What
talked
happened
about so
was
much that we have so
I
much to
had-
talk about.
I have a very good friend, Kelly Ann Costel-Larrier, who actually is the CEO for Safe Homes of Orange County. And because of my
It protects battered
experience
women.
with having been a battered woman and actually running across the field with my youngest baby, running to my friend's house to escape, and making it and hiding out there. Because of that experience, I felt a certain desire that I wanted to help her. And she said the biggest problem that she has is if someone doesn't know that their services are available and then she finds out that they're dead.
Oh my God.
That's a heartbreak for her, that she doesn't reach and people don't know that you can get a hold of Safe Homes.
Right. Right.
And even if you're not in that area, they'll direct you to a safe house or a safe place to be
Wow.
if you have a really a domestic situation that's not safe. So I said, well, I'm going to do a public service announcement for you because we have the video capability and all
Right.
that.
Right.
Well, I couldn't get it aired. So I said, okay, why waste the time making an ad that I can't get aired. I'm going to make a TV,
TV show.
I'm going to give each of these people that are doing great jobs and great work for the community a half-hour show.
Wow.
Kind of like what you're doing.
Wow.
It's funny, right? Half-hour show where they can talk
Well, you're on
about
it.
what they're doing.
You're actually on
she's
it.
on it.
Your show's
she's on
coming
it
up.
this week. She's going to be on this week. So I started out airing on Channel 23 on Time Warner Cable.
Up where we are.
7:30 a.m., 7:30 p.m. I'm in Port Jervis Cable also, and then I opened up to Manhattan Neighborhood Network
Now we're in
on
Indiana.
Saturdays, 1 o'clock on Channel
Wow.
5. So it's just opening up, and then I put it up on Telview, and I'm opening Boise, Idaho, and Massachusetts, and Connecticut. So
You have to request it. So if anybody in the area here
yeah,
wants it, you can
wants the
call up and
show,
request
you
it,
can just
and they'll put it on
request the
public. here.
show.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
anybody who wants to see it. But we have the TV, we have we air them all on YouTube and also on Vimeo and on our website.
Empowering
Right,
women.
right.
EmpoweringWomenEverywhere.tv.
Wow.
We're on Twitter, we're on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's basically what I did. So we've had some amazing shows, and ReneMarie is going to be on this week.
That's very
We
exciting.
finally edited her show. It's going to be on Friday, Channel 23, 7:30 a.m., 7:30 p.m.
Thank you. I
and
can't
also
wait. I can't wait to
on
see it.
Manhattan Neighborhood Network, 1 o'clock.
I
on
can't
Channel
wait.
5.
And what blows me away is that little connection that we had from Karen Stogner. Thank you, Karen, so much for just hooking us up. And really, and you guys know Tommy and Janine.
I know.
And they didn't even know that I got introduced to you guys. And I went on it. The show was just a small segment of our
You gotta have
connection.
them on. You gotta bring it.
Yeah,
and
come
we never
on.
got down to there. They do a thing too. Are they still doing
No,
their
they
thing?
don't do it. I was doing this show, ReneMarie's Stroke of Luck.
Yeah.
On their show.
At their studio, the
boy.
Madhouse
Madhouse.
Mousetrap Cafe.
Oh, Madhouse TV, right? Yeah, right.
Madhouse.
I get them so messed up. Yes. So they were a blessing. They're the ones that really actually crafted me to be able to do this.
Right.
And when they closed it, I said, I don't want to stop doing it. I love to give people this platform to be able to share their experiences and really my show is based on strokes and aphasia, but also on God and also on bringing hope to everybody that doesn't matter if you're educated, you can go into school, you can get educated
I'm
through
a college dropout.
right.
Right.
And-
And also, I told you, the Holy Spirit taught me the title business.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when I first started out, every title I got was a corporation conveyed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I knew corporations inside and out.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 months, it was all on trust.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
how I learned.
Yeah.
know?
So David, give us your last.
Well, I just finished. I'm doing a pilot for some kind of series. I don't know, web series, something. But I just wrote a short 15-minute pilot for 3 actresses who came to me and said that they wanted something to showcase them in a comedic sense. It's called 3 for the Road. So we're going to shoot that next month in November. And then right after that, I'm going to start my next feature, which is Shadow Serenade, which I've been working on for God knows how many years. And it deals with a young high school athlete who permanently injures his closest friend and quits playing ball. And he's like the top-rated high school quarterback in the country. And he won't play until the game gets safer, and it's about becoming an outsider. It's kind of a cross between Friday Night Lights, The Outsiders, and Benji, because the actual hero in the thing is a dog.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's based on my dog, long gone here actually, and it's named Shadow. So it's really, I'm very happy about that script. I finished that script about a month ago, and actually I was just retuning a little bit of it today. So. There's that going on, and
He's got some other scripts that are ready to go.
boy, I've got 50 projects. I could be working
One
for the
of
next.
them that's so beautiful. It's called When Summer Comes.
Yeah, that's a big one though.
That's a big
and then
one.
another one called Driving Marilyn Home. That's about what most of the 20th century, Marilyn Monroe.
Wow.
Anyway, in any event, that there's just a lot. It's just God just keeps it coming, and it just keeps filling me up, and I just have to trust that that's all you have to do is trust that He's there, and that whatever comes to you and whatever is in you, that He's not going to leave you without the ability to get it done.
The thing that I've found is that just recently, matter of fact, you know, you look around and you say, oh, am I a success, or am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And really, basically, what you have to remember is that the whole thing is really for your enjoyment.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So stop beating yourself up
Right.
and enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
Right.
You know, and know that who you are and what you're doing is enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just trust God.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
that's the big thing that I learned,
Yeah.
because I always had to do this or that, or, you know, gauge myself on how many people, you know, I helped, or how many, you know, what kind of I was bringing in money-wise or whatever. And then I realized that really, basically, this is all for me anyway.
Yeah.
Why don't I just enjoy it?
Yeah.
And when I
Enjoy the moments.
When I changed and I shifted, I started asking for things, and they were there. They went and found me, instead of me feeling that I had to chase after them. When I just felt content and full and peaceful within myself, things started to come to me.
Yes.
Like people would call me and ask me to talk, or people would call me and ask me to do this title out in Utah.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Wow. Wow. That's very powerful.
So that's
great.
a big
And Janine
shift.
is saying, "Yay!" Yes. Janine said, "Yes."
Yes. So you're enough.
Yes.
Remember
You're
that.
enough. That's
Everyone
a good. That's a
is-
good.
Everyone is a beautiful snowflake
And everybody's got a
that God
contribution
made
to make.
and God loves.
Yeah, you know what?
We're
I'll leave you.
each individual.
I'll leave you with
What?
When you look this way, when you speak.
Look.
Yeah,
that's-
and because the camera's there and the
More over
Facebook's
there.
there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
We
I'm
have
not-
so many. We have so many shoots around. We have a video. We have
Yeah,
Facebook
right.
Live.
I
We
forgot
have, we
what
have
it
so
was.
much going on.
What I wanted to say is that each individual is loved by God, and each individual is totally made different. I mean, if He makes all the snowflakes in the world to be different, why shouldn't we be different? But He loves each one of us the same.
We're
And
all
He
His
loves
snowflakes.
you the same as when you're doing stuff that's wrong as He does when you're doing stuff that's right. He just wants you to do stuff that's right because it's better for you.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. David, were you going to say something?
So yeah, when we were at the reunion, I was asked to speak to everybody, and I was asked to do a dedication. And we honored a bunch of the guys that had been to Nam, and you know had a bunch of them hadn't come back, and people that were no longer with us. But you know, you said it before. Everybody's always with us. And I wrote a show that I did in Sweden. It was called End of the Rainbow. It was about these dead rock and roll superstars that come back and tell the story of what really happened to them. And one of them was a piece that I wrote about Bob Marley. And it was a Bela Bartok concerto that I adapted to a reggae. And the lyrics in the piece go like this: In the beginning there was the one, all others from the one did come. Until the now so many have gone, and yet we are all a part of one. In the end, we're all the same. We live for joy and bury pain. Return to dust from whence we came, and what survives is the Master's flame. And that's, basically it, so.
Wow. It's almost like, people make so much about it. It's very simple.
Yes.
Just enjoy your life.
Like my
and
friend
each and
Mickey
every
Ben-Kiki
single
says, she's Israeli. David, life is long. Do what you like.
Yes. So, first of all, I'd like to invite you guys back because we have so much to talk about. And I honestly,
But then there'll be more. What do we?
I know.
You guys will never catch up.
I know, but I also want to invite you back, Nan, to talk about the abuse, the abuse, so that
Yes,
we can use this
definitely.
platform to really share
Yep.
the information. It's really
Okay.
it's really an important topic to
Well, if
Especially
you're
now.
going to do that,
Yeah.
you have to bring tissues.
tissues and
Tissue, I hardly know you.
I need plenty of tissues if I'm going to talk about that.
And so we can wrap it up because we began this this show with the love story. Very quickly, can you tell us how you got back together after?
Well, the first time, when at our 25th reunion was the next time I saw her after graduation. So the 25th annual reunion. And so but I was married and she wasn't. She had been divorced. So, we said hello, and she came to say to visit one day.
I met his wife, and I met his children, and everybody. And he was doing whatever he could to make it work.
Right, and then so fast forward to the 40th reunion. Now I wasn't even planning on going. I wasn't even in the neighborhood. My uncle got very sick, and I came back east to take care of him. And I played golf with the guys on the day of the 40th reunion. And a friend of ours called me up and she said, listen, this other friend of ours can't make it. She wants you to have her ticket.
He wasn't even scheduled.
I wasn't going to go. I didn't pay for the dinner. I wasn't going to go to I didn't want to go.
It's a God thing.
So, right, exactly. So I said, okay, I'll go. So I picked up the ticket at the door, and the only reason I was going was to find her. I walked through the door, as God is my witness. The only person on the dance floor when I walked into the ballroom was her, standing right in the middle.
Wow.
Standing right in the middle.
Wow.
And that was it.
So he walked over and asked me to dance.
That was it.
Wow, that's
From
beautiful.
that dance
you should
on,
make a movie about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sooner or later, I'm sure.
I mean,
we'll get around to
that's, and I could just see the movie starting out with you guys on the dance floor. You know, and then going back
with the mirror ball.
Yeah, and then going back to and
what
then.
I want to tell you though is that the only way that a man and a woman can stay together, because really, basically, we don't love each other because we don't have any faults. We love each other in spite of our faults.
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Okay? The only way that a man and a woman can stay together if God is in the middle.
Right.
Because if he does something that drives me crazy, I just pray to God. I say,
no, it never happens. Come on.
Listen, I'm giving him to you. You take care of him. Let me know what I need to do on my side.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's like I always bring this back to this point. Did you ever watch the movie The War Room?
No.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
It teaches you how to not have arguments with people because you're not going to win. You're not going to. So you need to go to the war room with God and ask God, God for the help, God to help you, guide you, really help. And I actually, my girlfriend Michelle, we have a prayer circle once a month.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And my friend Michelle, she went. At the prayer circle, we eat together, we break bread, then we say the rosary, and then we watch an inspiring movie. And War Room was one of the movies we watched. And I went and bought it because I go, oh my God, like I have to focus. I have to, because sometimes when I need that extra help, I'm like, I gotta get it from somewhere. And I just when I can't go to sleep at night, I turn that on and I watch it, and so it is a great movie.
Well,
it's a great
basically,
movie.
bottom line, if you think about it, when you're a child and you're innocent, all these things happen to you that are hurtful, and they're like hooks that are put into you. So the other person with you, or other people just that you meet on the street, or people that you have, they hit these hooks.
Yeah, right.
So if you go to God, He'll start healing
takes
that pain, rather than you going out with your anger. You'll be healed.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's all. Everybody has them.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, there you go. We've only been here 2 hours. Right?
What
time is it?
So
anyway?
much to talk about. It is 8:25. We've only been sitting here for an hour and 25 minutes. Michael, why don't you just come here for 1 second?
Sure.
Our
You just
videographer,
went a little bit over time.
Michael Angelo.
You just gave a lot of information that probably could have been used the next time.
Well, we can make two shows.
Hey, listen.
Michael, you gotta get down a little bit.
Hello,
this is our
everybody.
videographer, Michael Angelo, and there you have it, Productions. He always works for our foundation, and he's actually on our board of the foundation. There you have it. There you have it.
Yay,
so,
Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
It was a
Mike.
pleasure.
Really a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear.
We had a great time.
Thank you so much. I'll give you my arm. I'm sorry.
Love you.
Love you too. So we're gonna wrap it up, and this isn't the last time you've heard of us together. We're really gonna have Nan and David back on our show, and we're gonna keep the conversation going about God. God is really, Amen. God is the reason that we do this show, and that we try to bring hope to everybody, and really bring faith to everybody, and really is important to, hold on to something when you don't know what you're holding on to. Sorry, Michael. And us sharing our thoughts and our experiences in life, and that we're not perfect, and that we need help, and the only person that can help us is God. So we're going to blow our kisses, and once again, I want to thank you both for really joining us tonight.
We had fun.
Yes, it's an honor. So have a wonderful day. I will pray for you, as we always do.
Amen.
And we hope to see you soon, and please watch Collar the movie and
Coming
follow
out in the next couple months.
Yes, follow Nan and David. I'll post their information on this video and on the website, and they're all over the place. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me. And thank you so much. Have a stroke of luck in your life, and let's blow our kisses.
Ready?
Ready. Bye, everyone.